Hey guys, it's Clay. I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to do a quick video on setting your pickup height on your guitar. In my opinion, this is one of the most important things that you can do to get your guitar set up properly and playing and sounding at its very best. I know that when I was kind of new at all this, there was actually one time where I spent all this time trying to find a new pickup, and then all of a sudden when I, kind of got down to taking the other one out, I did one more playthrough, and I actually had the idea of just changing the pickup height, and boom, it was exactly where I wanted it to be. And I had spent all that time and money trying to find a new pickup, when in reality all I needed to do was to change the pickup height. It can be really, really beneficial. So I just kind of wanted to walk you guys through my opinions and my methods on how I do it. This is just personally how I do it. There are a lot of ways to do it, but this is just what I do. Now, overall, I do the whole thing by ear. So the biggest thing that is important is you want to find a balance between, your front pickup and your back pickup, and then you want every pickup to be even on both the bass side and the treble side. So, so if we're playing on a clean patch and that's my neck pickup, I want the bridge pickup to be roughly the same. So right there, the bridge pickup is a little bit louder, but that's intentional on my part. And then also, hopefully you can hear that, so if we're playing on, kind of the high strings versus the low string, you want it all to be sounding even. You don't want the low strings to be really bright and piercing and the other way around. You want it to be even across all 6 strings. So let's go ahead and talk about how we do this. Now, my guitar just requires a simple screwdriver, and so you've got these 2 screws here on my Stratocaster. I know on my P90 guitar the actual adjustment screws are inside on the pickup, inside the pickups themselves. So whatever you got to do, I believe those are pretty much the only ways that they do it. But yeah, basically you just want to mess around with these heights. Now, the best guidelines that I could say as far as starting out is, push down the low string on the highest fret that you can, and you want to make sure that you've got enough clearance there, because you don't want the pickups to be too close. If they're too close, the symptoms will be, let's go ahead and just see how that sounds. I'm going to put this pickup extremely close to the string, almost to the point where it's touching. So it's really, really high. So I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can. It's kind of, the note is kind of waffling. It's a little bit, It's not sustaining very well. It just sounds very, not very good. And actually, it just is very much overloading the signal. Very bright, very piercing, too close. If your pickups are too close to the strings, the magnets will actually, they will interrupt the vibration of the strings, and it will cause, you'll lose sustain. You'll have a hard time tuning, because the string will never actually land on a resonant peak. It will actually continue to get pulled up and down by the actual magnet itself. So you don't want to be too close. Now, if we go too far away, the signal will actually become very weak, and it will become dark. So you'll definitely lose high end. It'll be muddy. And it will be very weak. So this is about as low as I can do it. Okay, that's a lot of space. Now in my ears, it sounds very muddy, distant, low output, all those things I would say to describe. It's definitely not right. So what I like to do is start at, I always like to start at the neck pickup, just because, especially on like a single coil guitar, I think the neck pickup is really important. And I also do that because it's the pickup position that is probably most likely to become muddy. it's definitely the one that's most prone to being too dark. So you definitely want to keep it high enough, because the closer you have the pickup to the strings, it will increase output and will also increase treble. Whereas if you go down and away from the strings, it will decrease output and it will become darker. So you want to keep that in mind while you're trying to balance this out. Now, you don't want to be too close, like I said before, but also you want to be close enough that it actually gives it some snap, some snazzle. Some great descriptors there. But you definitely want it. You don't want it to be too far away. You definitely want to find that happy medium. Now, at this point, what I would do is just play the guitar quite a bit and tweak it. And at this point, I'm just going to stay on the neck pickup, and I'm going to, at a setting that I am familiar with, try to get it to sound like I want a neck pickup to sound. You want the right mix of highs and lows. You don't want it to be too muddy. You want it to be balanced between the bass side and the treble side. And you definitely want it to get it to sound like you think it should sound. Because from there, once you get the neck pickup dialed in, this is about where I remember it being. From there, it's actually a lot easier because you've got a reference. You've got the neck pickup serving as kind of the, this is what it should be, and the rest of the pickups kind of go off that. So now that I've got the neck pickup kind of at a place where I think I would like it, all right, that sounds good to me. Now the next biggest thing that you need to do is try to make sure that your output is similar going from the neck pickup to the bridge pickup. Now, in nature, the bridge pickup is going to have less signal because the strings are closer to their point of contact, so there's less rotation. It's like if you swing a I don't even remember what it's called, where the little girls jump like a jump rope. Thank you. One of those, if there's two people swinging a jump rope, at the ends there's not a lot of swing going on, but in the middle the string the jump rope is swinging very widely. And the same thing happens with your guitar. In about this area is where you get a lot of rotation of the strings. Whereas back in this area by the bridge, it's much more restricted just because it's closer to the point of contact. So that's why you usually get bridge pickups that are hotter. And that's also why I tend to want my bridge pickup to probably be a little bit closer. It all depends on how the outputs are. This is an HSS Strat, so it's got a humbucker, which is definitely going to be more output than single coils. But at the same time, it's also going to be brighter, so you don't want it to get too close because then it'll be a little ice picky. So you gotta, make sure you find a neck pickup output-wise that matches with your neck. But you also want to make sure that you get one that matches in terms of volume output. So that's kind of what I want to test now, is if I'm playing on the neck pickup. So the bridge pickup is definitely louder. So then I would go ahead and put the bridge pickup down. And maybe I'll even bring the neck pickup up a little bit. Not too much, because I've already spent the time getting the neck pickup where I want it. But definitely decreasing the bridge pickup. Maybe a little bit more bridge. I like to have a little bit stronger signal coming from the bridge pickup. That's just a personal preference. I don't quite like them to be exactly identical, just because sometimes I like it when I go to the bridge and it's just a little bit more rock and roll. You don't have to turn it much because it definitely, the output, it's very sensitive. So I think this should be pretty good. right, so feeling good about where the bridge pickup is at. Now all we have left to do is balance the middle pickup. And for me, I only use the middle pickup in the notch position, so that's all I'm going to test. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we put the neck pickup way low. See what that does to our 1 and 2 sound. So now the neck pickup is much higher than the middle. You definitely hear the middle pickup is lower in output. So what I hear there is there's not a lot of spank, and the quack is weak. It's definitely being overpowered by the neck pickup. So let's go ahead and raise it up about to the same height and see how that sounds. All right, that's pretty good. That's exactly where I want it. It's got a lot of spank, a lot of quack, and both pickups seem pretty balanced. Now let's go ahead and try the bridge in the middle. So I hear a lot of the bridge pickup coming there, so I'm going to go ahead and put the bridge pickup down a little bit. And raise the middle just a smidgen. All right, that sounds pretty good to my ears. So again, every position sounds balanced, and that's because you start with the neck, and then you balance the other pickups off of that. And you're trying to pay attention to make sure that it sounds balanced, both going between pickup positions and going left and right, so that the bass side and the treble side are usually balanced between the two. Now, at this point, some pickups, like this humbucker, I've also got these pole pieces on the one side. You can actually adjust those as well if you feel like you need more specific. Like if you think that the G string sounds a little bit lower in output just on the bridge pickup, you can go ahead and change that by adjusting those pole pieces. That's even further in depth that you can go to making sure everything sounds balanced. But those are the basics. I like to do it by ear. I know that Fender, some of those guys and some techs, they actually will get a ruler out and do actual measurements. I've never been one to do that. I always feel like if it sounds good to my ears, that's exactly what I want in the end anyways. So why not do it by ear? But I feel like it could just make it a little bit easier to replicate, older settings if you found something you like. But for me, I like to do it by ear. That's just a personal preference. You can, use measurements and be a little more consistent that way if you want. But I just like to make sure that it sounds good when I hear it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. These are kind of my thoughts and my tips, my method on setting your pickup height. Like I said before, it's extremely important. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.